Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going on a little shopping trip and we are looking for the perfect fruit tree. But before we start, can I just say, I think Sergey is just like a little bit jealous and had a little bit of FOMO because I went tree shopping without him the other day. And today is our day date. And he was like, we should go to a garden center and look for trees. And I was like, interesting. I wonder why you want to, because we usually do all of our tree shopping together. So I thought it was just so funny how he was like, hey, we should go look for fruit trees. And I was like, okay, I think you just missed out last time I went. So that's what we're doing today. We usually have a day of the week where we have a date together and we either go country driving and we just look at beautiful scenery, we just disconnect from our phones and just enjoy each other and the scenery, or you can find us at garden centers most of the time. So that's where we're going today. Now, I'm not looking for something too specific. I do think we want to look for another persimmon tree because we have one and we'd like to get another one to plant in a container. And I want to look for a peach tree. And here's the thing. Buying peach tree for us, it's kind of playing Russian roulette because they never last more than a couple of seasons, but I'm always so what's the word I'm looking for? Optimistic about it doing better for me. And even though I stay on top of spraying them and taking care of them, they always get some fungal disease and they only last for a couple of seasons. Then they're like, bye. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to be more diligent about taking care of it. I do want to get another one for a container. We're going to try to find a miniature one, but let's see what the garden center has to offer first. And that's kind of like what the game plan is. Anyways, let's head over there and see what they have. All right, we made it to Al's Garden Center. We are at the Sherwood location, and I actually like coming on like later in the day because it's so quiet and you can just kind of have the whole garden center to yourself. But you guys know I love this Al's, and I feel bad because I haven't been out here in a long time, so I'm excited to see what they have. The hellebores. I love when a garden center pays attention to their landscape. When you walk in, it just motivates you. Look at these. So nice. Oh my gosh. Okay, pay attention. I'm not gonna look at pottery. Just stay focused. Let's see what we're gonna find today. Wow, their indoor houseplants are insane. Wow. Wowie, wowie, wowie. Look at these. Oh, perfect Valentine's Day gift. That's so cute. Oh my gosh.
That's how they get you.
This is how they get you.
You need to go to the other side of the store,
Yeah.
but they get you right here.
It's like going into Costco. They put all the good stuff out in the front.
Focus. Keep on walking.
Look at these. Oh my gosh. Oh, these are so cute. Love that. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Look at this cactus. Wow. That is so cool. Wow, wow. Love that. All of the succulents. Oh, these are so pretty. All right, let's come out here. They have dahlias. Oops. We might make we might make a quick pit stop.
Keep on walking.
We might make a quick pit stop over there.
I thought today I'm getting my trees, not your dahlias.
Yeah. I was telling people I think you had a little bit of FOMO. That's why you wanted to go tree shopping today. Oh my gosh, look at these cyclamen. Wow. Gorgeous. Okay, Al's is not messing around. So much good stuff. And look, $10 off bare root fruit trees. That's a great deal because these are already a good deal. So before we get into the actual varieties, let's talk a little bit about what bare root fruit trees are. So bare root fruit trees or bare root anything is exactly what it sounds like. It's a tree that's bare root. It doesn't have any soil around it. So just like that, they come in bare root just like you see here. And there's just so many benefits to bare root fruit trees. Really anything bare root, bare roses that we're gonna talk about. So the first benefit is they are so cost effective compared to when you're buying a regular potted tree. And if you think about it, it makes sense because garden centers and nurseries, they're not spending that extra money on those pots, traveling, shipping, and all of that. So they really just come in bare root like this. So they're able to order more and they're able to offer it to you guys and me at a lower cost. For example, this Gala semi-dwarf apple tree is only $50 minus $10 on top of the sale that they're having now. So $40 for an apple tree. So if you are going to buy a ton of fruit trees for your garden, or say you have an orchard that you're going to fill up with fruit trees, which is like such a dream of mine that I hope to do one day. This is such a great way to go. It's so cost effective to buy your fruit trees that are bare root. The other great thing about bare root trees is they're a lot easier to handle. So if you don't have like a big car with a big trunk or a truck, you can really put these in any car size. You can just put down your passenger seat down and pop this in there. When you pay for these, they usually put them in a bag, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So it's really nice for those of you who don't have, again, a big car or a truck to transport a full-grown tree back home. The other great thing about bare root trees is if you come and look closely, let me pull this guy out. They have way better root systems than potted trees. So these are going to establish much better. If you look at this, look at how long these roots are. Now, if you were to buy this tree in a potted container, what they usually do is they'll cut these roots to make sure they can fit in. For example, you're not going to find a smaller tree like this in a gigantic pot. They're just not going to do that. It's not cost effective or practical for them to do that. So what they end up doing is they cut these roots pretty short, and look at all of that root you're going to lose if you're going to buy this in a potted container. So just root wise and the way this tree is going to establish in your garden is going to be so much better than buying one that's potted up. So for that reason alone is what
Don't bury your phone.
Yikes. So what I was saying, for that reason alone is why I like to buy bare root trees anytime that I can, because it's just such, like, I know those are going to do better in my garden. They just will. I know they
Well,
will.
they've always done better in our
Always.
garden.
Yeah.
And I think like when, to your point that you just made, is when they pot them up, they kind of hack at the roots a little bit, and they have to do that. But that causes unnecessary shock to the tree.
Oh yeah.
So that's additional like pain or suffering the tree needs to
That's
recover
so sad.
from
Yeah.
before it can have a nice, calm life.
Exactly what Sergey is saying. Like, trees, plants we know are really resilient. They're going to do fine, but there's already going to be that transplant shock when you plant them in. So why not avoid that extra trauma to this tree and avoid cutting those roots and just buy something that's bare root, right? So I think that's kind of like the point Sergey is adding on, and I'm adding on to it, is just these are just going to have a better time in your garden getting a good start versus one that's potted up. Okay, another really great reason why I recommend you buy bare root is you're going to get a ton of varieties. Like, you are going to find heirloom and kind of like boutique varieties of fruit that you normally wouldn't see in their potted fruit tree section. Especially if you're looking for things like pluots, there are certain peach trees that you're going to find better selections of when they're bare root versus potted up. So that is also something to keep in mind. If you're looking for something very specific and something heirloom, you're usually going to find it this time of year in bare root form, because nurseries are able to bring in more stock without having to take up too much room in shipping and all of that, because they're just going to bundle these up and they're going to ship over really easily. So they're able to bring in more variety for us to select from. So again, if you're on the market for something very specific, something very unique, which you guys know, when we buy trees, we're always looking for something that's beautiful. If I can find a unique fruit that has a beautiful tree, I am going to put that in my garden, because I'm also looking at what that tree is going to do for me structurally other parts of the year, not only when it's fruiting. So I like to pick something that's very different and unique, you know, not just like a Granny Smith apple, which one day we will just have an orchard full of everything. But right now, because we are limited to the space that we have, I'm going to be very specific of what I'm getting. Of course, I'm going to buy something that I like to eat, but I'm going to be a little bit more choosy of what I'm bringing into our garden this time of year. And lastly, another reason why I like bare root trees is if you're somebody who is very eco-friendly and you want to practice, you know, green gardening anytime that you can, when you buy bare root, it's using less plastic and less packaging material when it's being transported to the garden centers into your home. So if that is something that's really important to you, I highly recommend you seek out bare root trees and also other things like roses, berries, anything like that. It's going to be the same thing. They're going to be using less plastic, less packaging material. So that's just something to keep in mind if that's something really important to you.
In addition to that,
Mm-hmm.
you have less weight for transportation.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Again, it's
that.
yeah, that's like it's all you have to think about it like a whole
Holistically.
holistically. Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect word. You really do have to think about this whole thing holistically. So anyways, now that we talked about all of the good stuff, let's go ahead and get into the fun part, and that's shopping for something very special. I know I want a peach tree. I didn't even ask you. I think you're here for a persimmon.
Yep.
But I was
Now,
focusing on what I wanted.
I mean, while you were rambling, no.
Welcome to our date day.
Providing fake news. No, I was kind of like scanning throughout, and I'm a little sad right now because
Why?
I don't think
Oh, no.
I don't think there's a persimmon.
Oh no.
I could be wrong, but I haven't seen one.
Okay. You know who has persimmon trees? It's Christensen's Nursery
They have everything.
up north. So we might come up.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, this weekend we go up. No, we might make a trip out there just to buy a persimmon tree because they do have really pretty, pretty ones up there. But can we? Okay, I know. Let's just be real for a second. I know you don't like when I buy peach trees. It's kind of like Russian roulette. We talked about this.
Why don't I like it?
I don't know. I'm kidding.
No, I get it. It's a lot of maintenance.
It's a lot. Yeah, they are more maintenance.
Yeah.
And they always get like that fungus. They always get
Again,
a fungal.
it goes back to the maintenance.
Yeah,
You
curl
have to
leaf,
be,
leaf curl. I mean.
Yeah, the leaf curl, blight, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Some sort of canker disease.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just got to stay on top of your spray schedule. And I mean, guilty as charged.
Yeah, you do it too. Because usually Sergey takes care of like the tree maintenance part, right? I get to do like the pretty things with the trees, but he'll do like the maintenance, like fertilizing
You
and
always
all of
blame
that.
the maintenance guy, right?
Yeah, you always blame the maintenance guy. So anyway, so we haven't had the best luck, but let's do a little bit of math. Let's see, one of these fruit trees is, okay, well, they're $60. They're a little bit more this year than they were last year. And here's the thing. Say you're buying a bare root peach tree, right? And for us, it usually lasts a couple of years before they completely go, meh, and I'm just gonna get rid of them. That still gives me 2 years of a good fruit crop, which, if you think about how much peaches are, that's not bad because these little suckers produce
like
a
what?
ton of trees.
Or
Sorry, fruit.
yeah, also this is what, organic, right?
Yeah.
You grow it.
You grow it. You get to enjoy it. The bees get to enjoy the flowers.
Oh yeah, my bees. Yeah.
Yes, Sergey's bees. He loves his mason bees. And here's another thing. If you are buying a peach tree, they're almost like an ornamental tree because they have so many flowers. So if you have a space to have one potted up and like tucked away in your garden, I kind of hope to tuck this one away in our cut flower garden somewhere where we have that little table in the back, maybe like near the olive tree or around the corner in that area. That's kind of like my vision that I have for this. But in the springtime, these little suckers are going to put on such a show of flowers. So you're kind of getting two things out of it. One, you're getting the peaches, which I love peaches. Anything peach flavor, I love so much. But they're going to be just massive little branches with a ton of little flowers. I'll actually pop up a picture for you guys to see a couple of our past trees that are no longer alive, but they just had.
We have one. We do.
Okay, we do have one. It's hidden and it's like hanging on for dear life. And the only reason why I didn't get rid of it is because my stepdad was like, no, let's just water it. Let's continue like caring for it. It's gonna come back. And I'm like, I love the optimism, but I promise you, like, I'm gonna hack this down and it's not gonna look good.
Well, at least my bees get to enjoy it.
The bees
springtime,
what? Yeah, exactly.
Usually the the disease sets in right after.
Yeah, they do.
After the flowers drop, which is
fine. At least the bees have something
if
to
my
eat.
bees can eat, I'm happy.
Yeah, Sergey's all about his bees. Like, He loves his figs, he loves his bees. Those are his like little prides and joy in the garden, and his grass, of course. So anyways, let's do a little bit shopping. Let me show you how to pick out a good peach tree, because that is also something very important. Not to get off topic, but we'll talk about the shape of them actually. I'm gonna teach you how to properly select one and how to keep it pruned so they don't get too out of control and they look beautiful for you all year long. So I'm going to show you how to pick out a good tree. We have a couple of good ones here. So you want to think about the shape of them as being like a vase or like a wine glass. I've talked about this before in previous videos on fruit trees. So here's an example of one that I would do a little bit of pruning to. So do you guys see how it has the center leader right here? I would come in and cut this down because peach trees are notorious for wanting light. So if you allow this to continue growing, this is going to be very full and clustered. It's not going to allow a lot of light in, which these trees need. Again, we're really kind of focusing on that vase, that wine glass shape. We're gonna just open them up completely. So this one, I would, if you bought something like this, I would just make sure to cut down this leader and leave these other ones on the outside. Okay, so here is a perfect example.
Wow, yeah.
This is beautiful. So do you see how, I don't know if you guys can see that good, but do you see how this is very open? I would come in and just cut this right here. Take this whole thing off and leave these three growing, and look at how beautiful that would be.
Oh, I want that one actually.
Yeah, this is pretty, right? I wanted a dwarf, but we can go with this one if you like it. You're just going for the shape.
Oh yeah, the shape.
This is a early, oh, it's a semi-dwarf. Alberta semi-dwarf peach.
Oh yeah, look at it, it's short and stubby.
Sweet, fine grained yellow, freestone flesh.
Freestone?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So he's like, we'll find room for it. Yeah.
Isn't that
That's
what
kind
the
of our
gardener-
motto in
yeah,
gardening.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
find the space for it. We don't care. One other thing I wanted to mention is these fruit trees are all going to be grafted. So you can see this is the graft point right here. So when you're planting this, which I'll talk to you guys when we do get to planting this, it's nice to have that graft face the north side because it's still healing and you don't want a lot of sun to hit this. So if you can keep it kind of protected, this area, that is going to be perfect. And again, we're just going to plant it a little bit deep, probably like 8 inches, because we want that graft exposed. Let's see, we do have some roots around the graft, so I would probably just plant it to about here and leave the rest off.
Looks good.
Yeah, this one looks beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And also when you're selecting a tree, whether it's like an apple or a pear, make sure that you read the back of the tag or even ask the garden center if it's something that needs a pollinator friend. So some trees are self-pollinating, so you don't need 2 separate fruits or 2 separate fruit trees to pollinate one another to get fruit. But some of them do require that. So I've seen a lot of people make this mistake. They'll buy an apple and they're like, hey, it's not fruiting, what's going on? And I'm like, well, it probably needs a pollinator buddy. So that is, again, something to keep in mind when you're shopping for any fruit trees, really. So for example, this one here on the tag, it says self-pollinating. So I'm not going to need to get a second tree in order to get fruit out of this one, which makes me so happy. Here they have the dwarf varieties, but now I'm kind of leaning towards the other one. So I think we might skip the dwarf variety. But if you do come in here, I want to show you something to keep in mind. The one downside about buying these dwarf varieties is oftentimes they get picked through and you find a lot of broken branches like this right here. So when you're shopping, if you're going to buy the dwarf varieties, make sure you just pay attention. That way you get a really good one. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but if you're somebody like me and like super OCD who likes to buy a tree that has perfect shape and branching, you want to make sure that you find one that doesn't have anything broken on it. So keep that in mind. Here's another example. Look, this is broken over here.
They're everywhere.
Yeah,
Right?
so look at that. So these just tend to be a little bit more fragile. So keep that in mind if you're going to buy the dwarf varieties. But my gosh, they put on such a pretty spring show. Like it's almost worth it just to buy for the flowers. I also wanted to share that they also have a ton of apricot, stone fruit pluots, plums, cherry. They even have some espalier trees over here, but they have bare root ones over there. and like
They
Sergey
have a
pointed
whole
out
bunch of
over
Asian
here.
pears,
Yeah, they have
multi-branch cherries.
yeah, multi-branch cherries, which are good if you don't have a ton of space. Sometimes you can find one cherry tree that has 3 different types of cherries on it. We used to have one of those, which was kind of fun, but
But I think the upside of that is I think they do it so they can cross-pollinate easily.
yeah, so you don't have to have a second tree
Yeah.
because they're all kind of pollinating one another.
Oh, what a Frankenstein
It's a
tree is that? Like if you
Frankenstein.
think about it, like,
Yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Debbie has an apple tree that has like 3 apples or 4 apples that I actually planted for her on the side garden, and it's producing so many fruit. It's amazing. So anyways, all right, so this is what you're gonna do if you're buying a bare root tree. Usually the garden centers will have bags, and you're gonna fill up that bag with a little bit of soil. This is really just to hold your new tree until you're ready to plant them. And you can leave it in the bag for 1 to 2 days, maybe 3 days, but after that you want to get them planted. Now we might not get ours planted right away, so if that's the case, if you're not going to put it in the ground, make sure you at least pot them up in a really big container and just cover the roots a little bit so they're protected. So for us, we do have really big containers. So I might just pop this into a container, cover up the roots a little bit, water it in until we're ready to get it planted. One other thing, if you don't have a big container, if you ask nicely, the garden centers usually have like containers off to the side that are recycled. So you can ask them if you can just have one. So that's also something. So you just put your tree in the bag like this. Make sure you have soil around it. We're gonna add a little bit more. And we go pay for it. And that's it.
I'm a little sad.
Why?
Okay, because I won the Fuyu, right?
Isn't this a Fuyu?
Yeah, that's the Fuyu.
Okay.
And that's the other one. Now, the other one is notorious for being beautifully shaped in nurseries. The Fuyu isn't always.
Yeah.
And as you can tell here, it is like one gigantic leader.
Yeah.
I really don't like that. Because if I was to buy this, I would cut it right here. And that's almost have the tree gone. I want it to be branching from lower,
Okay. But
from lower down. And anyway,
can you go here?
but then I lose a whole like 2
Year.
years worth of fruit.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Fuyu is the way to go because these you can eat semi hard.
Yeah.
While those other ones I can't pronounce it,
Yeah. Hachia.
they need to be like mushy soft or they're bitter.
Okay, so Sergey loves persimmon, like his whole family loves persimmon. And we have a Fuyu, but it took a while to shape it. It wasn't that pretty.
Yeah, it was similar to this.
Yeah, and then we were patient with. That's the thing. You have to be patient with trees, but if you prune them early enough, you can control the shape and the future of your tree. So that's why it's good to start out early and control its size. That way it doesn't get massive, and then you're gonna have to get a ladder to reach your fruit. So it's nice to have something a little bit shorter.
Do you remember last year in the flower garden show?
Yeah.
Where we found one.
We found the perfect Fuyu.
In one of the displays.
Yeah, and we asked to buy.
We asked the designer if they can sell
I
it
think
to
it was
us.
Tony Bonsai.
Yeah. And but he's like, yeah, it actually belonged to Ken's nursery.
Yeah.
So we, never went back up to Ken's nursery to try to claim it. But
we might come see you this year because we really want to get
I think this year I'm just gonna pull it out of the display and take it home.
Yeah, put a note. Sorry, but here's the money for
I owe you.
I'm kidding. We would never do that, you guys. We would never do that. But we are going to be there really early this year because we're helping set up, which I'm so excited about. So we'll kind of get an insight to see if they have anything really cool. So maybe it's a good thing we wait because we might find something there.
Let's just go to Christensen.
Yeah, which we'll most likely do that.
Ready
You
for
found
this,
something.
but
You found
I found it. I remember
Okay.
last year they're talking about that they have some indoors and outdoors.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have like 2 whole rows, one for the one variety and one for the Fuyu.
Okay.
And the first how many? 6 or 8?
Yeah.
They're all like the branching is really high up, but
Okay.
this is perfect. Look at that. Low branching, and it's kind of like the vase shape. Oh, this is beautiful.
The only thing is, what are you going to do about this situation here? Look at this.
Well, I'm cutting this branch.
This off?
Yeah,
This
for
little
sure.
guy? Okay. But yeah, it does have a really beautiful... Okay.
Like I would cut that off. I would cut these two inside growing and keep it out.
Okay. So
Because
we'll get...
you know, like the one we have,
Yeah.
if you leave too many of the branches, they're gonna just fill with fruit, start bending and breaking.
over. Okay. So we'll get this, and then we'll get that bare root peach tree.
Yeah. And I think that in another video when we actually plant them up, what do you do with your thumbs?
I don't know.
When we plant them up, they can see the difference between the roots here and then the roots there.
So stay tuned for that video. So let's get a cart and let's get this guy too.
And people can see the difficulty of handling this because you're going to carry it for me since I got the camera.
No, how about I record and then you carry this? How do you get this off? Oh, it's like one of those child safe. It's like
Claudia's safe.
It's like a child safe. What do you call them?
Oh
Whatever
my God! Look at that tree.
It's so pretty.
How funny would that be if that's actually not a fuyu? Let me double check.
No, it is. It's a
okay.
fuyu persimmon. That'd be so mean if you take it home and it's not. Okay.
No, I got it. Okay.
I got it. Oh, so heavy. I wish it was bare root. So that will wrap it up for today's video. I'm so excited to take this home. I hope this gave you a little bit of inspiration to go out and get a bare root tree if you can in your area right now. Again, you're just going to open yourself up to so much variety. It's going to be less expensive than buying a potted tree, and you're going to have an easier time transporting it home, and that tree is going to get established a lot faster than something that you would buy that's potted up. So it's all around a win-win-win-win. Win. Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and coming on our date with us and doing a little bit of tree shopping, and we will see you in our next video. Bye-bye. Wait, we're checking out and Sergey found something else. He loves, wait.
I feel guilty, okay, because on the way in, I gave you a hard time about focus, keep on walking. We came here for one thing, and that is bare root, but on the way out is a different story.
I know, but look at all the beautiful succulents they have. And Sergey loves jades and succulents and
well, this is the one that I don't have.
It is. And this one is a, let's see, Crassula golem jade plant. I love that.
And they're like what?
$16?
$16?
Yeah.
That's pretty cheap.
These are so pretty. All of these jades.
And basically, I want it to look like that.
Yeah.
Without having to spend that kind of money.
Yeah, this one, whoa, 76. But I mean, look at how mature that is. That is so pretty though. Wow.
But wait, these are green and these are yellow.
Yeah. I don't know. Ooh, there's a green one. Okay, now we're getting off topic.